Welcome to Gadgets for Families, the tech show for the family IT person and the person that's dreading the day that we're all walking around with these nerds gawking at us through these weird glasses on their face. I know. Your grandson just got you on your new iPhone and you're having a hard enough time remembering to charge and wear that watch that they want you to wear to track your heart rate and your steps and try to be up on your health. Hopefully today we'll be able to clear up some of that confusion and get you ready for the inevitable future that is smart glasses. And anyone else wanting to get more out of their lives through tech, I'm your host, Jay Benjamin.
And I'm your host, Greg Cunningham, and I am excited about today's
Yep.
episode because I think this episode is going to mark our transition away from audio and podcast first to video and tech show first. It doesn't mean we won't have audio. We'll still publish it in the podcast feed for those of you that want to listen
and it'll
there.
still sound awesome.
Yep, we hope so. But we are using a new recording technology. So we're not on Zoom, we're not on GarageBand, we're not on voice memos, any of those kinds of things. We're using a new technology, and we're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks, about how it went, how we got there, all the hoops Jason had to jump through just so that we could actually do this. But we're on this new technology. I'm excited about it. Editing's going to be different. The quality of the video should be different. So what I would ask is that provide us feedback, right? Let us know in person or through however you can get a hold of us, or use the feedback form. Let us know how it goes, and just know that this is part of our journey. It's not a one stop. It's not going to be perfect today or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. This is going to be our journey to get this show where we want it to be. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. It was a long time coming. I knew we were going in this direction pretty early on, right? Because you took a liking to the video and editing and things like that. So yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. Just let us all know if there's anything that you guys would like it to see us change or adjust or something like that. Well, if it's not clear by now, we're going to be talking about AR, VR, mixed reality, and some of these limited use glasses that are available, right? So these things, they don't necessarily change our reality, but bump. But they just kind of right.
You got to get those sound effects ready next time.
Yeah, we need one of those soundboards like they do on the radio shows. But they kind of offer things like music listening, photo taking, and things like that. So we'll go through the differences. We'll talk about some of the use cases and try to give you a better understanding on the differences between some of these hardwares that are available. So, Greg, I remember you mentioned before you don't have any experience with headsets, with VR, AR, some of these limited use glasses, anything like that.
Only the experience that I get through other people. So I've never put on a pair. I don't even think I've been to the big machines in the arcade where you can play the games in those giant football stadium sized things. I don't think I've done any of that kind of stuff. I have an idea of what I think I want this stuff for, which I think we'll talk about later. But yeah, I've not used anything. You offered to send it to me and I went, nah, because if I'm going to experience it, I kind of wanted at the time, I don't know if that'll hold out, but I kind of wanted at the time my first experience to be the Vision Pro.
Right. And you may get that opportunity. So we'll see. So I had the privilege to be able to use a few different types of AR and VR headsets. So again, like you mentioned, I own a PlayStation VR, which doesn't get any use. It's literally sitting in a box in the garage. But I'm also part of a Houston VR group, and this group gets together and they talk about advancements in the industry, any big news or headlines that comes out in AR or VR. And also, a lot of the game developers come by from time to time and they'll drop demos or let us play betas of the games that they're working on. So they meet weekly. I hadn't been in a few months, but hopefully one of these guys pull the trigger on the Vision Pro, and I'll be able to go in and test it. And I know I can make an appointment at the Apple Store and go in to see it, but this is a little more real world, I guess I would say, real world setting. So it'll be fun to go and hang out with those guys and talk about the Vision Pro and stuff. Also, in the post show, we were going to talk about the Vision Pro. I mentioned that I have here in the notes that the embargo is still on, but early this morning, before we got up and to record, they lifted the embargo, and a lot of these videos are dropping, which is what I was hoping we would be able to review a lot of these videos and see. But in the post show, we're just going to talk about the same thing we talked about, just in more detail. So we're going to talk about how we feel about AR, the current state, and things that we want to see in the future and stuff like that. So if you want to stick around and get extra geeky with us in the post show, please do. And Greg, anything else you wanted to add there?
I don't think so. I'm excited to learn more about AR and VR today. I'll have a few ideas and stuff like that. It's mostly going to be Jason helping us all learn. And then I'm excited to have a conversation because I want to share what I think AR, VR should be. And hopefully it'll, for those of us that have been around tech for a while, you'll remember where
Right.
I'm getting this from. So,
Right. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or follow or share. Do the whole subscribe, share, like thing that all the YouTubers talk about now. So it only takes half a second, but it helps us out a ton. It helps the show out, and we really appreciate it. And also, as usual, thanks to all the folks that's been listening with us for the past few months, and we really appreciate you guys too. All right, Greg, let's do a little catch up and story time. So the last week, it was cold and rainy all week in Houston. Finally, Saturday, it was in the mid 50s and cloudy, which still made it feel like it was in the low 40s. Sunday was the first warm day. It was actually the day I was at a market and I had to pull off my jacket. So that was the first day of good weather that we had. It was bright and sunny. And I see you didn't want to wait for good weather. You sent me a message. You had to get out and smoke some turkey and some salmon and get out and enjoy the weather. So how are things there? And this kind of ties in too with story time. So tell us how'd your week go?
yeah. So I remember the one day we were talking and we were actually warmer than you were
Yeah.
at the time, which was kind of funny. And but no, Sunday was fantastic. It was upper 40s and sunny.
Okay.
And so came home from church, turned on the smoker, dropped 10 pounds of turkey on there to smoke, and that
Mm-hmm.
took about, I don't want to, people criticize how long I smoke it, but it took about 4.5, 5 hours. I know people do a
Right.
lot longer,
Right. Right.
uh, but no, I sat out there and put up the hammock and put on a hoodie and laid there and smelled the hickory and the
Yeah.
turkey for 4.5 hours. It was fantastic. And then when we got done, we had some salmon from Alaska from my sister-in-law. They had brought it down, and so we
Oh, cool.
seasoned that and threw it on, and that's still in the fridge. Most of the turkey's gone,
Yeah.
but there's still some of that salmon in the fridge. So no, it was fantastic. And actually, until late in the week or the weekend when we're supposed to get snow again, it's supposed to be in the 50s and
Okay.
sunny most of the week. So yeah, yesterday I worked for a couple hours out in the hammock. I'll probably do any editing and stuff I have to do today from out in the hammock. And I've gotten in 2 real bike rides, not just getting on the e-bike and 10
Right.
layers of clothing, but got on the actual mountain bike and gone for rides. And I plan on doing that again today. So it was great.
Okay.
But my tip for this week, and here's our tiny tip, is related to the smoker. And when I bought the smoker, it's a Traeger tailgater. So the legs will fold up and it's actually designed to be set on your tailgate while you're tailgating, right? And but the reason I bought it is because I wanted to take it camping and I didn't want a full
Mm-hmm.
size one. And plus it's just right. I mean, for our family, I'm not smoking meat for 50 people. So
Right.
I could probably get maybe 15, 20 pounds of turkey on there if I did it right.
Okay.
Um,
That's a yeah, that can feed a
yeah,
pretty big group.
yeah. But I wanted something where I could monitor because it's got a thermometer that you can stick into the meat and it plugs
Mm-hmm.
in right into the smoker itself. And so I could walk out and press the button and see what the temperature is. But I wanted something that I could monitor from my phone. And so I went this Govee wireless control smart meat thermometer.
Okay.
And Govee actually does a pretty good job. And I want some of their Christmas lights.
Right.
So I'm starting to research which ones I want to put, not for my house, but for my trailer. And they have strips and all kinds of stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
this one, it's great. It's Bluetooth, it's battery powered, and I just put some Velcro on part of the smoker out there and Velcro on the back of this. So I stick the actual box right on there with the Velcro, and it's got a place for 6 thermometers.
Okay.
So, and I only have 2. It came with 2. You can buy the other 4, and I usually only need 2 because I put 1 in each turkey breast
Right.
and
Right.
call it good.
So
And
ideally, if you had one of those big like competition trailers, you can put one like down in the pit. You can put one in the smoker. You can put one on the top where you're cooking
yeah,
like your lighter meats, your chickens, and stuff like that. Okay,
yeah,
so you can monitor up to 6 places
yep,
on a single pit. That is really cool.
yeah. And it's like I said, it's Bluetooth. I didn't get Wi-Fi because I just didn't think I would have a need to be monitoring
Right.
from somewhere else. I mean, Sunday would have been okay because I could have put it in before church. Actually, I can't because anytime you start up a smoker, you end up smelling like the smoke. And so then I would have had to either go to church smelling like smoke
Right.
or I would have had to shower. So, but I didn't get Wi-Fi. I just got Bluetooth. It's fine. The Govee app is really good. It actually integrates all of their stuff, not just this
Yes.
thermometer. It's for everything. And I can go in and I can tell it what I'm cooking and set the temperature that I want it to. And it'll start going. It'll alert me 10 degrees before, 5 degrees
Hmm.
before, and then when it reaches temperature. So that's my tip for this week. It's great. It wasn't terribly expensive. I can't remember how much it cost. But for what I'm doing with it,
Right.
it's perfect. So I love this kind of stuff. So I guess I do have something that would be considered smart home related in
Right.
my home, but this might be the only thing.
Right. Right. I think it qualifies. And so the pit that I had, the bottom kind of rotted out. I should have took better care of it, but whenever I upgrade my
Everything
pit,
rots out in
yeah,
Houston. If it's metal, it's going to rot.
yeah, yeah, and the bottom just fell out, and it was always a whole deal to try to get it to try to maintain the temperature, and I had to put metal in the bottom, and it was a whole thing. So whenever I get around to getting a new pit, I was always planning on getting some of these smart thermometers too. So
Yeah.
so yeah, real good tip. I'll check
Well,
out Govee. I have a lot of their lighting and stuff too, so
yep.
I'll check those out.
I can recommend the Traeger. I mean, my brother-in-law Traeger replaced his whole Traeger a couple of times, just with their warranty and stuff, and so that's
Right.
why I went with the brand. But this tailgater is great because it fits in the back of my truck. Like I said, the legs fold up, and I can lift
Hmm.
it and set it down. It's got wheels. I can then push it right into the back of the truck and
Yeah.
set it and good to go. And if I fill the pellets, it's more than enough for that 5 hour
Okay.
smoke. So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. So the pellets, can you use real wood, or does it
No,
have to be pellets? Okay, you
it's
can't chop
pellet
up your
only.
own
And
wood.
here's the
Okay.
thing about Utah, you want pellets because half the time when you camp, there's going to be a fire ban, which means
Okay.
you couldn't use wood anyway. So it's either propane or pellet. So it does allow me to get around most of the fire bans that
Okay.
we have here. In fact, I've got 2 of them in my cart. I got to decide which one I want, but I think we're buying a propane portable propane fireplace
Okay.
because some of the places we go don't allow campfires unless it's propane. So you just get one of those propane pits. So that's
Yeah.
just the kind of stuff you have to deal with when you live in a desert that tends to
Right.
catch fire and burn everything.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some current stuff we see in the news and the headlines. So, um, no big news here, just keeping up with the iPad. Greg and I are both excited about it. So the latest that I saw was Gurman reasserting that we're still looking at the end of March for that time frame for those new iPad Pros. Um, no new updates on hardware and specs and stuff like that. We're still expecting what we're expecting. We covered that previously, but yeah, yeah. So it was on his the link I had. I saw it on was it Engadget? It was one of the websites, but it was in Gurman's newsletter. So the
Power on.
Power
Yeah.
On newsletter that he drops, what is it, once a month or 2 weeks, or
Once a week. So it's
okay.
every Sunday it comes out, and I subscribe to it. It's got a ton of great
Yeah.
information. And then if you listen to other tech podcasts, usually on Monday, Upgrade follows up on everything that he said. They
Right.
love the fact that he releases on Sunday and they record Monday
Right.
morning.
Right. It
So
just works out perfectly for them.
yeah, I'm going to give you a heads up here though. I'm hoping that they do more than just the pros in March.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
hope
I,
so
I don't
too.
I don't need them to do the mini because I know where that fits in my life, but I think I need them to do the air.
Right.
And the reason for that is I'm not as convinced I'm getting the pro as I was when we did that episode a couple weeks ago and talked about it
Right.
in the post show. So we'll talk about it when stuff comes out. I'm sure they're going to do an event on this one because I'm guessing it'll be M3 Max, the
Yep.
Air, the MacBook Air, and probably the Studio and the Mac Mini. Would it be my
Yep.
guess? But if they release more than just the pros in March, I'm going to have to think about it. I think.
Oh, all right. So now let's jump into our main topic for today. So again, we're talking about VR, AR, and other face hugging technology that seems to be going around, lately nowadays. It's getting more and more popular, right? So,
Yeah, it's no longer just Google Glass, which was a
right.
tremendous failure as a product, but
Yep.
probably helped everybody else realize that they couldn't do that. So hopefully it helped shape the market today.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And man, there were a lot of privacy concerns because of the company that was doing it, right? Because it was
Yeah.
Google. I think they caught a lot of heat. There was like some legislations and stuff going around. They just kind of whipped up the whole industry, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I think that whole plan fell on its face because of the company that was doing it. So maybe they'll get a different reception now, right? They'll change a few things because we know they're working on it, right? We
Yeah.
know everyone's working on it. Samsung, LG, we know everyone's working on a version of this. Even if they didn't know Apple was working on it, right? Which we know they were, but Apple released their device. They're on the way to users now. They're working on it.
Yeah.
So, um, so we're gonna just talk through a few things. Again, none of these companies sponsor us, right? So we're not gonna talk about specific products, but we'll throw some names out there just so you can get an idea about what you're gonna look for and what to expect from these.
I'm just saying, if any of them want to send us
Yep,
equipment, I'd be
definitely.
happy to.
Right. We'll definitely test them out. So anyone that we do name, if you just want to send us a set, we'll test them out for you and give you an honest opinion on it. So let's start with VR, right? And VR stands for virtual reality, right? These virtual reality headsets. And these headsets, they're usually closed off from the outside world, right? They're like totally blocked on the outside. Their screens or something on the inside to help you see. And what they do is take you out of your dull, boring reality that we live in and put you in a virtual
Go
reality.
camping. I'm just saying.
Right. Or get a good camping simulator, and stay in the coziness of your living room and still enjoy it.
Or
So
when it's 15 degrees outside and you want to be next to a tropical beach.
right,
That,
right.
yeah.
That's a better option to me. So VR has been around for years and years at different levels of quality, right? And when I first started researching this, I was like, maybe the 70s or something like that. No, 1968 was the first time when there was someone that created a VR headset to use and play with. Now, no like major products or anything like that. It was just mostly students and teachers, tech nerds of the time experimenting with this. But throughout the years, big companies have tried to make a push towards VR. Right? We have the Virtual Boy from Nintendo in '95, and other companies came and went. But somewhere around 2015, 2016, VR was back and it was here to stay. You know what I mean? They some of the really big name companies really made a push for VR, and I think a lot of that had to do with the technology at the time, right? Smartphones were already out. Screens, Samsung and other screen manufacturers were making them smaller and smaller, and um, higher definition, right? They require less power and things like that. So I think a lot of it was just because of the advancement in technology. So there's a few applications for VR, right? Education, training, sports and athletic training. Doing different drills and stuff like that. But it seems like the biggest and most popular use case for VR is gaming. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. I love gaming, PlayStation VR, um, the HTC Vive. A lot of these different uh, big name companies kind of really made a push towards gaming, and that's what it seems like VR is. When people think of VR, they think of gaming, right? That's what it's mostly used for.
And see, I think the other category that's going to come up now is going to be entertainment.
Yeah.
And, I know we'll eventually talk about the Vision Pro, but the idea is um, I want to watch Star Wars
Hmm.
sitting on Tatooine, right?
Right.
So Star Wars is big, giant in front of me, but all around me is just the Tatooine desert.
Right, right. And I know we're gonna get some stuff like that. So um but yeah, basically VR just takes you out of your reality and puts you into a virtual reality, and you can experience the game, or again training, or whatever class you're getting educated in that time. VR headsets seem to be really used for that sort of stuff. So there's some VR sets available now. I mentioned the PlayStation VR. They're on version 2 now. The HTC Vive Elite, which is their like pro version, the Meta Quest 3. These are like the latest versions of that technology that was released around 2015. And they can range anywhere from $5 for those plastic goggles that you stick your smartphone in, all the way up to like $4,500 to some of these ones that are really specced out and have all of the sensors and things that you need to move around your room and stuff like that. So uh, yeah, VR is it's here to stay, and it's really fun. Again, once you get your hands on it, Greg, I think you'll really enjoy it.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, yeah. So the next one is AR. I know you heard this term, AR, which stands for augmented reality, right? So unlike VR that takes you out of your reality, your boring, lame reality, and puts you into a virtual one, AR is designed to augment that reality, right? It's designed. The headsets are designed to where you can see through the headset, and it adds information into your field of view, right? So you're still sitting in your office and you still see everything in your office. And then you'll add things like your calendar, just basically a heads up display, right? That you see on all the sci-fi movies and video games and things like that. So it'll add in your calendar, it'll add in your messages, it'll add in basically a computer monitor, so you'll be able to use your computer and things like that and still be able to interact with the outside world. Um, Not all are advanced as the Vision Pro, but let's say some of these basic augmented reality glasses. Someone comes in a room, you see them, you can make eye contact, you can still speak to them, and things like that, and you'll still see the things that are in your field of view that are still around in the real world.
And I think some of these are, I don't want to, this is not a broad categorization and it's not perfect, but a lot of these are designed for more productivity
Right.
types of things,
Yes.
right? So I see some of the examples that you're going to mention here in a minute, but they're designed more of let me work in
Yes.
my environment, especially if I have, you know, something weird going on
Right.
or a
Right.
small space or those kind of things. Let me work.
So the first time that I realized that AR was going to be a reality, do do do.
I got to get the sound effects. Maybe this new platform's got
Right,
room for sound effects.
right, right. But the first time I realized that this was going to be a reality and not just something that we see in Star Trek and other science fiction movies was when Microsoft came through the campus and showed us a video, and it was Microsoft's vision of the future. So I looked this thing up on YouTube. I put the link in here. Check this out. So a lot of the stuff we have, like you're going through they're going through the video and you're looking at the technology like, wait, we have that. Wait, we have that. We have that. So it was a good vision of the future. It wasn't like some 40s vision of 2000 with floating cars and like the Jetsons and stuff like that. But it was a good accurate prediction on how the future was going to be in the technology. Now, Microsoft doesn't own, or maybe they own stakes or whatever, but they don't own or produce any of this technology. We have it from other, manufacturers and stuff, Apple being one. And also you notice like the phone wasn't the center of that tech universe in Microsoft vision. And at this point in history, it is, at this point in time. So a lot of that technology exists. Like you see the lady pull out her boarding passes on the phone, and it's just like a little sliver of glass, but she's scrolling through her boarding passes. But we have our Apple Wallet now, right? And we can go through boarding passes and credit cards and stuff like that without having a third and a fourth device in our pocket to manage that. Everything is managed on the phone. So a lot of this stuff already exists in some capacity, but the first time I saw it was like the video that I linked. It was from 9 years ago. I think it was 9 years ago. Maybe it was longer, but I saw the video even longer before that. So, um, really, really cool video. But seeing that is when I realized that, hey, we're going to be using this for more than just really cool videos or really cool, demo or concept videos. So, um, again, just like VR has been around since the 60s, so a long, long time ago. And some of the use cases, like you mentioned, is mostly for productivity, right? Is being able to work. One of the examples that I see from a lot of these companies when they do their little demos or their concept videos or whatever, it's always with some tech holding a part, right? And it's looking at the instruction manual and the different parts broken out to where they'll be able to disassemble or reassemble something. I think even no, I think this was a HoloLens a video, but a guy was working on a motorcycle and he blew up, or um, rather kind of um, he kind of took apart a part of his engine on the motorcycle, and he can see the inside, the internals, and things like that to see exactly how to assemble it. So a lot of it is productivity, and a lot of it is like precision work and stuff like that. Being able to have these instructions right in front of you as you're disassembling some crucial part and some unit or something. Um, there's also directions, right? Some of these glasses will offer you like map directions and show you like landmarks and stuff like that. Again, going back to this Microsoft Vision commercial that they had years ago, it had a little arrow on the floor. And I don't know how practical that is now because now we have watches that tap on our wrist to let us know when to turn left or right. But it was just an arrow being projected on the floor, and he was following it around like a little smart vac in the airport, and it was showing him which terminal to go to, things like that. Um, so things like that, directions and just productivity and being able to do precision work and stuff are some of the applications that AR has now. And oh, I put here too, like we always say on the show, if even the stuff that we don't know that we need it for yet, right? The stuff that we want that we don't know we want yet, right? Which is something
Yeah.
Steve Jobs was always famous for telling us. We don't
And
know
that's
what we
gonna
want.
we don't. And I think, Apple's released the Vision Pro, and I don't think they know what people are really going to use it for. They think they have an idea, but I think back to the Apple Watch, where they touted the Apple Watch as all kinds of things, right? I mean,
Right.
the list was a mile long, and now most people use it as a fitness tracker, sleep tracker, and for
Hmm.
notifications, right?
Right.
And so, but you've seen Apple refine their message related to the Apple Watch as they went along, and I think that's going to happen as we continue to go forward. And I don't want to say Apple's the be all end all, but generally, it's when Apple enters into a market
Right.
or a product line that starts to happen.
Yeah, yeah, they kind of push everyone to improve, right? Instead of just giving us something, they'll set the standard, and everyone targets that as how they want their product to be.
Right.
So, some of the AR sets that are available are, of course, the HoloLens 2 that I mentioned, InReal, um, they're like they look like regular glasses, but they're kind of really bulky. And the ones we always mention that we're dying to get our hands on are the X-Real glasses. And they range from anywhere from $99 from my research for real products. Not, I know you can go on and Alibaba has a VR glasses or whatever, or AR glasses for $50 or whatever, but these actually look like real products, and they range from anywhere from $99 to $900. I didn't see any real products that were over $1,000. So AR glasses are out there, and they look really cool. So
Yeah, this is the category to me that if all you want is I live in a small apartment, or I've got a very small workspace, or I want to be a little more mobile, but I want more screen real estate, um, this is the category
yeah,
that I think would be good, right? This is the category where, like, the extra glasses, I think could work for something like that.
right, right. So the next one I have is mixed reality headsets, and you guessed it, it's exactly what it sounds like. It basically mixes the best features, the best aspects of VR and AR in one headset, right? So some give you the ability to cut off, again, block that screen out, take you from your reality and put you into the virtual environment, and then also um, either undim or have a screen that lifts up, or something that'll allow you to be able to see through and interact with your environment. In the case of the Vision Pro, it has cameras on the outside, which allow you to see through. And then there's a screen on the outside that projects your face on the inside, so people can actually see your eyes and your expression. Really advanced, really overkill for the time, but then again, that's Apple, right? They're gonna oversell, and man, it looks really awesome. But on some of the more practical use cases now, there's just a little screen that goes up and down, either on the outside or the inside of glasses, and you can let that up and down as you want to be able to switch between AR and VR. So I think if manufacturers aren't hyper focused on a certain use case like gaming or something like that, or again, specifically being able to do education or something, um, I think this is the way all headsets are going to go, right? There were tons of different phones, flip keyboards, sliding phones, and things like that. Apple released the black sliver of glass, and all cell phones became a black sliver of glass. So I think this is the way mixed reality is what we're going to be looking for in the future, even from some of these gaming headsets. I think this is the style of headsets that are gonna be here to stay, basically. So and again, we're not going to talk too much on the Vision Pro and things like that, because this is our current reality. Boom, boom, boom. So this is our current reality. This is the way technology, this type of wearable is currently. So we really can't um, speak too much on it, because we're actually living that now. I mean, we can talk about it, but again, there's not much as far as the future and stuff that we can only speculate on now.
Yeah,
So
and I like the Vision Pro obviously is the big entry into this
right,
market, right?
right,
But Xreal has multiple levels, and they have the AR
hmm
glasses, and then they have this mixed reality set, which I believe is their new. I
right,
started to get confused when I was researching them. So I think their newest one, the more expensive one, is it's both,
yeah,
right? And so yeah, I got to figure out if I can get my hands on a pair
yeah,
of any of those.
yeah, yeah. Because when I was researching, even that entry level one, it still gets you an awesome experience.
Yeah.
It's just the pro version of that kind of offers a lot of bells and whistles that you don't necessarily need, but would be cool to have. I think that would still, improve that experience. But we'll talk about X-Real. Maybe, like I said, we can test some of those out one day.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes from here.
Probably the last category we have is this limited use smart glasses kind of realm. It doesn't really have a name like AR, VR, mixed reality. So I say limited use because the cases are pretty limited with these things, right? So these are glasses that aren't advanced as AR, VR. They just kind of look like bulkier shades or bulkier eyeglasses, right? But they add things like cameras and speakers so you can listen to like music or your text messages and things like that. And um, yeah, they're it's pretty limited, but still pretty fun to have, right? I've seen some like Amazon release some with their smart assistant built into it, to where you'll still be able to access, voice commands, home automation, uh, ask questions like, the weather and stuff like that, all from your glasses, right? It has a speaker built into the I forget that
Yeah.
whatever that part is called
The
on
arms.
the yeah,
They're actually using. So I've seen of them. I've seen a couple of the commercials on these. Ray-Bans got a set.
right,
I think somebody else does too. But they're using one of my favorite audio technologies for outdoors, which is the um, bone conduction.
oh right,
Right.
right,
And so instead of piping it into your ears, they're piping it through your cheekbones or
yep,
through your head and working really, really well. And that definitely is more of an augmented reality, right? Because you're not isolating yourself from the world in any way, shape, or form. You basically got the equivalent of a spy comm set in your ear
right,
and the spy glasses on. So,
yeah, yeah. So, and then that brings me to the next one. Are these smart glasses um, for these social media companies, right? There was you mentioned the Ray-Ban ones with Snapchat. I forget what they're called, but I just call them the Snapchat glasses.
yeah.
Um, there was some Instagram ones like a couple of years back, and they just look like fancy contemporary shades with a camera built into it, so you can take pictures of your food and your children and your whatever event that you're attending. Um, I think it was cool to have. It was gimmicky, but no camera is going to be better than the camera that they stick in your smartphone. So I think it just didn't catch on like they wanted to. But as technology improves and that camera gets better and better and the battery life gets better and stuff like that, um, I think we'll be seeing more and more of these, in the next few years, start building up until people start really using these mixed reality headsets. So
Yeah.
all right. So that was it. Not a lot of information that I wanted to, we like to keep it light here in the main show. Definitely stick around with us for the post show, and we can get extra geeky about this and talk about some more specs and details and stuff like that. Um, no show next week. I'll be on a much needed cruise that I've been looking forward to for a few months. Now, anyone that's been listening to the show, they're going to say, didn't he just get back from a cruise a few months ago? I think that's too much cruising. Well, I say to you, sir, it's not enough. It is not enough. But, Greg, what do you have for us the week after that?
Well, I have a question. So you don't do the same cruise every time, right? And if I remember right, one cruise is a family cruise,
Right.
and then this cruise coming up is the cruise that you use to recover from the family cruise because you had all of the family on the cruise.
Right, right. So that's usually the case, right? Earlier in the year is usually just me and my wife, and then September is the family cruise because of all of the birthdays that are towards the end of the year. This cruise happens to fall on my daughter and my sister-in-law's birthday. They wanted to go and celebrate, so not only will I have family, we're going to be on with about 27 family
Oh,
members on this cruise. So, yeah, this was going to be an experience. It's going to be a little different. So we're looking forward to see if this is something we're going to enjoy or say we're never doing that again.
so you're going to be the tech grandpa and uncle and
Right,
friend and in-law and all those kinds of things for the.
right.
I'm sorry for your
Extra
pain.
chargers, extra cables. I'm taking extra of everything for all of.
So in March, Jason will be saying, "Yeah, I realized that that wasn't the kind of cruise I want to go on, so we're going to skip another episode because I'm going to go on another cruise where it's just me."
Right, right. Just me. No, no wife, no kids, nothing. Just
Yeah,
me and my camera. So
yeah. All right, so yeah, so next week I was thinking maybe what I'll do is maybe drop some shorts or something next week if I can get to it to talk about some of these Vision Pro, um, videos and stuff that we have, and if you get a chance
right,
before you leave to record any, we can publish some of that kind of stuff, but. The week after that, we're going to talk about the Vision Pro more in depth. Updates, will have had it in their hands. We'll have watched all these reviews and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And so that'll be one of the topics. I think we'll talk about how we're recording the show today, how it went. We've had to pause a couple of times during the show and make a few minor adjustments. We don't know how this is going to turn out. So we'll talk about that process too. And then I also want to talk about a topic that I've had on my list for a while. Hopefully, we'll have time to get to it next week. But that's one of the main reasons why I am in and stay in the Apple ecosystem. And
Mm-hmm.
that's continuity and handoff and the ecosystem itself. So those are the topics that I think we'll talk about, unless something major comes up between now and then. If I splurge and buy a set of X Reels or something like
Right.
that. But continuity's on my list. I also have on my list eventually to talk about Day One, which is the journaling app that I'm using. So that's the plan for the next couple of episodes that I'm going to host, and we rotate. So I won't make Jason think about his next episode till he gets back from his cruise. So
Right. Right.
yeah, he might come back and his episode might be how to support 30 people on a cruise. That might be
Right.
his. That
I
might be
think
his
so
episode.
too.
But speaking of vacations, I'll just let folks here know. It'll already be out on my Leaders Lift podcast. I'm actually going to take a sabbatical or put the podcast on hiatus. And, one of the things I've talked about in Leaders Lift is that sometimes you have to say no to things so you can
Yep.
focus on other things. And so I'm going to be doing that. If you've been listening to Leaders Lift, thank you so much. I'm not going to take it down. I'm going to leave all the infrastructure in place so that if I think, hey, I just had this idea and I want to just record a topic ad hoc, that I can go ahead and do that and publish it out there. But I need that. Jason needs his cruise right now. I need to focus on some other projects that I want to be focused on. A lot of them are related to tech. But anyway, I'm going to be on hiatus for Leaders Lift. I hope it's not permanent, but we'll see how the next few weeks or months go. And so I just wanted to share that with everybody. Jason will go cruising. I'll take a break from that podcast, and we'll see if we come back with some more ideas and stuff to move this forward.
Right. Right. And I'm sure to be back. Like I said, I got a lot of value out of it. The people I shared it with, they did too. It'll be back, even if it's in a different capacity or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
sure it will.
we'll see.
All right, Greg, that was all I had. You have a cool podcast closing for us?
I have no idea what to even put on here with all these changes, but let's just say we'll see you in reality.
Right.
Whatever that reality is for you.
Yep.
Virtual, real, AR, VR, mixed, limited use. We'll see you in one of those places. And again, this topic is going to stick around for a long time. So
yeah, I think so. All right, folks. Well, we'll see you the week after next, then. Enjoy your week.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.